Hey gang, it's Sebastian, back with another video for you today, and I've got a special guest here with me, Dana from A Nose Nose. And as promised, finally, we're doing this. We're talking about resins. So if you want to find out all about resins, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time tuning into this channel, you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about fragrances and notes, and you name it, discovering new brands, participating in giveaways, and still haven't subscribed, please click that subscribe button. And also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So Dana's here.
Hi.
And we're talking about resins today because it was the most voted of topic from the last video where we spoke about tonka beans. And we're talking about resins today. We're going to cover what?
Everything.
Everything about resins?
Yes, I'm the nerd in residence, so we will do everything on resins because I love resins. I think it's your most favorite category.
You gotta love resins when you were raised Christian Orthodox, okay? Both of us are Christian Orthodox, and I remember smelling frankincense at the church. Always. And it was also burned in the house.
Lucky house.
Was it burned in your house?
No, other things were burning in my house, and they involved the death of a lot of quadrupeds. So.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, we had a farm. Don't worry. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No, let's talk about resins.
Resins,
nothing else.
Elegant, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
What are resins? Tell me.
Resins are resins and balsams, right? It's a big category.
it's a category that's under balsamic. Fragrances.
I don't know why they're all put together, but my guess is that they're called balsamics because they all initiate as the same thing. It's basically the blood of a plant that oozes out, and in some cases it's already like thick. In some cases it thickens and becomes almost like a rock. So but in all cases it's a substance that a plant makes either all the time to attract insects or to protect itself from something else, or if it's mechanically hurt, if you cut it, if you bruise it, if you know there's a storm and it put the plant down, whatever, if it's attacked and has a wound, they secrete this thing to basically heal themselves. Sometimes if you attack them through fire, if they're invasions of insects, whatever. So these things are stuff that plants.
What's falling down?
Oh, I have so many different bags of things. We're going to show you all of the
We've got everything here.
Favorite resins, yes.
But wait, you said it grows on trees, and as a kid I remember picking them off the trees, and they were gummy and round and kind of like thick and gooey, and I used to like pick at it, even sometimes taste it, which didn't really do anything to me.
You probably tasted the wrong one because there's some that actually have a flavor, a taste, but it doesn't even need to be a tree. Sometimes it starts with brushes or bushes, right? So there are different kinds of categories of plants that create these sticky, very flavorful, fragrant, basically saps that they use for different purposes, just like I mentioned. So I think that's why they're called balsamics, because they all start with here's a liquid that some plant produces for a variety of reasons that then ends up as different things, and I'm going to show you different kinds of. So
they're on the tree, a little gooey, and then they harden and get crystallized when they turn into the resins that we're talking about.
Some of them do. Some of them stay liquid.
They do?
Yeah. And some of them ooze already like a glue. So it's not really, it doesn't pour, but it's, you know, like a sticky glue.
I one time thought, okay, I could use this as glue, and I tried using it as glue, but it didn't really work.
Again,
it was very sticky and gluey.
It didn't use the right one because some of them are used as glue today, and I want to tell you all about it.
Okay. So then, what's the difference between resins and balsams?
I think how hard they are. I think so. I think how hard they are, and because they have different degrees of hardness and clarity, they sometimes project differently, and they can be used differently, right? Because if you have a liquid, you can mix that with something and then use it as such. If you have something really hard, it doesn't really smell unless you burn it, you dissolve it, you do other things with it. So when it comes to manifestation of how you put that in practice to use it for whatever you want to use it for, and there are innumerable uses around the world for all that's balsam and resin.
You covered it right,
to treat it differently.
Because I always associated balsams with something that's gooey and molassesy. But then when I see that incense fragrances like Casbah is considered a balsam, or balsamic.
Right.
I'm like, why is that? It doesn't make sense to me. So explain that part.
I mean, all of this stuff that we're naming is not necessarily according to scientific taxonomies, right? It's whatever somebody who got there first decided it's going to be. For example, I have Peru balsam today. It doesn't come from Peru. It's just some dude said this is from this shipment port in Lima. Okay, this is what's going to be called.
What is Peru balsam?
Peru balsam is a balsam. It comes from a tree.
And what's the difference between Peru and Tolu?
They're in the same family of trees that produce a very, actually I have it with me, a very thick, here it is.
Can we see?
Yep.
Can you put some on me?
Sure. I wanna do this first so they can see how, like, look at that.
Now that's molasses.
Very, very molassy and sticky. Yeah, here you go.
Just a dab.
So the balsams are some of the most liquid members of the balsamic family. There are some that are even more liquid than that. The cade oil, for example, is considered to be a balsamic as well, even though I don't see it. But anyway.
You know what it smells like?
Propolis to me, and caramel.
What's propolis?
Propolis?
To me it smells like... what's that substitute they used to use for chocolate in the 70s?
Carob?
Carob.
It does have a little bit of
in the Middle East, they use
yeah.
carob to eat, so it smells like that. Is it edible?
No, but they do use it for flavorings. Okay. We'll get to that later.
Okay. I want. Okay. So what's next? What are we talking about next?
Well,
do we want to ask what the difference between myrrh, frankincense is? Is that what you want to do, or?
I was going to, just to get it out of the way, to kind of go over the list of what's considered a balsamic and a resin.
Okay.
Because the list keeps growing year after year, I actually ordered something that is now called amber. Like, it wasn't confusing enough to have ambergris, amber for jewelry, amber as an accord in perfumery. Now there's actually a note ingredient that is called amber and comes from some sort of pine from Siberia. So as we go along,
When did this happen?
Just this year. So as we go along, things are getting more and more complicated. As of now, on the list of balsamics, there are a few things that I think don't belong there, like the oily stuff. Like cade oil is one.
Wait, I didn't.
Cade oil, yes, exactly.
Is it under balsamic?
It's on balsamic, believe it or not. I don't think it's there because in my brain it just doesn't make sense.
That doesn't
and
make
it
sense
doesn't
to me
smell
either.
like everything else. But okay, fine. Cade oil. Then we have the balsams that look and pour like this, like a molasses. This is the Peru balsam. There's the Tolu balsam. There's the Gurjun balsam.
Well, I like that sound.
Gurjun
balsam.
Then there's something with a weird consistency, a category that has like a waxy consistency of resins. Elemi falls into this.
I like Elemi.
Copaiba falls into this. They're just different. They're kind of like more porous or more waxy,
mastic?
more left. Mastic is one of them.
You can chew on mastic.
I know, and
It's good for your digestion.
A lot of stuff. All of these are going to be. I'll tell you all about it.
All right. Well, I know about mastic because it's used in our country.
Copahu's there. Birch tar, which is slightly thicker than this.
Oh, that's considered a balsam?
Yep.
Wow.
And labdanum, which is also very, very thick.
But labdanum is a flower.
Labdanum is
rock
a
rose
flower, but the sticky part can come from the flower and the brush, the body of the plant.
Okay. And isn't labdanum what's used to create an amber accord?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have what I call the true resinoids, the ones that are hard, that look like a rock, basically, which is frankincense, which is apopanox, myrrh, and benzoin. And then there's a bunch of other ones that are now coming up, but I'm not going to mention them and you will stay sticky because it's getting stickier and stickier. So these are the resins that typically are used in perfumery today.
Okay.
That we have an interest in. And some of these have been used for other things since forever.
Okay.
Want to go into that?
Yeah. So, since the beginning of time. I mean, religion's been here a long time.
Sure.
And it's been used, frankincense has been used for a long time.
Absolutely.
So I'm assuming perfumery kind of went along with
I think
before?
the perfumey aspects of resins and balsams came before. So the way I think worked was, first there was function. Cave people needed to make fire, right? They noticed that stuff that have resins in them, terpenic stuff, burn slower and they burn hotter. So I think the first selection was based on practical stuff. We're gonna pick this wood over the other because it takes longer and it makes more heat, right? Okay. Then through repetition, I think they became exposed to this kind of smell because it smells a certain way when you burn any resin, slightly phenolic, slightly terpenic. They started associating that, and this is just personal theory, with well-being, with comfort, with better quality, whatever. From then, I think it was a very small step to actually pick it, and there's proof today in the bog mummies in like Western Europe, in the Peruvian mummies in the Andes, all the way to the steppes of Asia. They found 20,000-year-old skeletons or mummies with stuff in their cavities, with these resins stuck in their teeth.
How did you find this out?
I like nerdy things, and I know a lot of...
So they found resins in their mouth.
They found resins in their mouth.
Because they don't evaporate and diminish.
Exactly. Well, actually, amber from jewelry is nothing but a resin that has solidified and now mineralized, crystallized into something that is no longer organic. And that is yet another kind of amber. That's why the ambers are called ambers, because they were trying to replicate the look and feel of the Baltic jewelry quality fossilized resin, which is now jewelry amber. So,
but then there's also the ambergris that kind of looks like that as well.
The ambergris,
like
that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't confusing enough. Now they have to come up with another thing that's amber. The ambergris was washed on the shores of the Baltic Seas and a lot in the Barbados, actually. This is the two places on the Atlantic and then in Australia where ambergris is to be found like freely on the beach. And because it looked kind of like the amber that they would find.
The benzoin
like
I have here.
Yep. They kind of like calcated.
Except it didn't have any beaks in it.
Well, I don't know. We didn't break the whole thing.
No, we didn't.
So that was that. And then the amber accord and perfumery, which contains a resin or balsam of any kind, plus vanilla or vanillic notion.
My favorite category, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
I love that category.
It's not hard to love it. So yeah, long time ago, people were using it for medicinal purposes. Then they started to like the smell of them. In Egypt, ancient Egypt, 6,000, 7,000 years ago, they were using it for a variety of stuff. Mummification in Egypt involved a lot of resins.
I heard about that, yeah.
And then slowly it kind of moved into ritual, and then from that it was kind of adopted into a lot of ritualistic / religious procedures around the world across religions. Every single religion, every single temple, altar, synagogue,
they all use incense, huh?
Everybody, everywhere uses some sort of, like Shinto temples, there's something there. Personal altars, there's everywhere.
I read recently that we're kind of running low on frankincense.
Yes, that's because the tree, although it's a very hardy tree, kind of like olive trees, the older they are, the better they are at producing high quality, whatever that means. I have a problem with the social construct of quality, but the older they get, they produce better quality frankincense. But they need to be tapped, cut, wounded, no more than 3 times a year. If you do it more...
So they're farming a lot.
They're over-exhausting the tree. If you're farming a lot, they become kind of sterile. They make the seeds, but up to like 15% of the seeds actually germinate to produce new plants. If you do it less, up to 80% of the seeds are actually viable seeds. So they're basically... not strong enough. It's kind of like it happens to women too. If they starve themselves or there's some famine or whatever, you don't make the baby materials. You just like don't produce eggs. No, really, it's the same thing.
True,
you become sterile. So, or you put it on hold, kind of a thing for a while. It's the same thing. So yeah, they're over harvesting.
I get it. Sad. But I guess the world needs it. A lot of it.
Well, it's used...
They use it in all religions, you said.
Okay, so the religious part is one of the uses, which is kind of easy to understand. You grew up in Eastern Orthodox tradition, so did I. Anybody who knows Greeks, Russians, or Orthodox churches of any kind, or Christianity
Armenians.
of any kind, because Catholics use a lot of myrrh, for example. I think Judaism uses a lot of it. Islam uses a lot of it. So there you go.
All of those.
The 3 major religions. Hinduism uses, it's everywhere. Apart from the religious thing, and the fragrance and cosmetic industry.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to that yet.
We haven't even gotten to that. There are a lot of uses for resins and balsams. One is medicinal. They're being used in a lot of anything, like
Really?
from preventing baldness to guts to teeth to swelling of the whatever, to make your skin prettier and get rid of acne.
Really?
Yes. Liver stuff, period pains, infertility.
Okay, so which one are they using?
Erection disorders. I'm not joking.
What?
Everything. Hemorrhoids. It's like bad mouth. What is it called? Halena. Bad mouth.
Halitosis?
Halitosis. Thank you. Any possible thing you can think of, there's a remedy that involves a resin. Veterinarian use for resins. Horses, for sure. They're one of these that I'm going to be talking about has applications in veterinarian. It's like everywhere. So medicinal, yes, everywhere.
But let's focus on perfumes.
Fine. There's some good ones. Sanitary ones.
Sanitary.
Yeah, like they make stuff against insects and stuff like that, to moth prevention, whatever. And then there's flavorings from tobacco to gum
Wow.
to alcohol.
A lot of
to
uses.
A lot of uses for all of these
No
stuff.
wonder they're kind of exhausting those
Yep.
trees.
Yep, pretty much.
Wow, interesting.
All right, perfume.
Perfume. Yeah. The category that we're interested in.
So in perfumery, most of at least the ones that we're going to talk about, which I think are the most important resins and balsams, are mainly used for fixating stuff. Fixating stuff means makes the essential oils or the aromatic parts of the perfume diffuse slower, so it lasts longer and it keeps the molecules kind of together for longer. It doesn't like fall apart. The smell stays the same for longer. Most of them are used for fixative purposes, and of course because they smell nice, very nice, and they're easy to distillate. So they
Of course they smell nice.
Steam distillation produces usually either essential oils, which are very easy to use, or absolutes, which are also very easy to use. They're stable. They're easy to mix with everything, and yeah.
What
and
is
they
your
smell nice.
What is your favorite resin then? What do you prefer?
I like Myrrh the
Myrrh
most.
is your favorite?
But it's kind of hard. I think I like Labdanum the most, but I have more bottles in the
Collection with Myrrh.
In the collection with Myrrh. Yeah.
Okay.
And my collection is not shameless like his. But I'm still like at, 500 bottles, 600 bottles, something like that.
I prefer Benzoin.
Of course you do.
Because I like sweet vanilla.
Of course you do. I'm not a sweet
But
person.
don't get me wrong, I love frankincense. Because,
I love frankincense.
grew up with it. Myrrh's good too.
It's good. They're good stuff.
Yes, so
wanna
let's
do
see.
that?
What is Myrrh then?
Okay. You want to start with Myrrh? You want to
Let's
start with
start
the
with
heavy
Myrrh.
stuff? Okay, so Myrrh...
Well, should we start with frankincense? Let's start with frankincense.
Entirely up to
We
you.
both know frankincense. Let's start with that
Okay,
one.
so frankincense looks like this. I brought a little bit of everything because I want to show it to the camera. Frankincense comes from a tree called Boswellia, and most of the good frankincense in the world
That's the one that's going extinct.
is coming from Somalia, but it's also grown in Oman, Yemen, that part of Africa, okay? It's also called Olibanum. You'll see that in a lot of...
that's what I want to know. Why is it called Olibanum? I thought they were two different resins.
Al-Luban. It comes from Arabic.
Sounds Arabic.
And it basically means something fragrant, something smelly. Frankincense, like I said, has been used for 6,000 years. It shows everywhere. 6,000 years that we know of, but it shows everywhere. Like, there are treaties from the 13th centuries with Chinese lists of customs for import and export. It's been around for a long time. Theoretically, it's crystalline. It's very hard. So
Don't chew on it?
you can chew on it, and in some parts of the world they do chew on it to prevent cavities,
Can
to
you suck on it?
freshen up. You can, and it sucks. It's so bad.
Really?
Yeah, I tried it. It's bad.
You tried it!
Of course I tried it. I'm like, of course I tried it. It's
Are you going to
sticky.
try it on camera? Because last time we tried Tonka, I'm not putting that in my mouth.
I can give you another one.
I'm not trying it. Are you going to try it?
How do I get to put all the nastiness in my mouth? You put the nastiness
You tried
in
it
your
already,
mouth.
you said.
I have, and that's enough. Don't do it. It's hard. It's sticky. It's a little bit. Imagine.
What does it taste like?
Like
Does it taste like it smells like
pine,
church?
like chewing on pine needles. No,
Oh.
actually, the terpenic parts of it come out. Think coniferous trees.
okay.
It doesn't smell like that. If you all know
All right,
what
I get
frankincense
it.
smells like, but it tastes oddly green, woody, and very tarry, like chewing on tar.
Sappy.
And yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the most popular.
Okay.
It shows in the
We won't try
Bible. Herodotus
Frankincense
talk
and myrrh.
about it. Frankincense and myrrh. It's everywhere. It's universal and it's dying, like I said. So, if you have a choice, pick. You'll see hojari as a name for the higher silver or hojari, the higher quality frankincense. It can be burned, and if you burn it, you can do it however you want. But if you buy it, and it's actually quite cheap, you can get it on Amazon, whatever. If you buy it, put it over the flame, but not onto the flame. So you can put it on like aluminum foil, or you can put it in anything, maybe even a ceramic thing that
Aluminum foil is the cheap way out.
Right. It sits high enough over the flame that this starts melting and smoking.
The smell is amazing.
That's the point you want it at. You don't want it to start, going in flames, because it will create some burn overlay that doesn't really smell that good. You want it to smoke, but not burn. And it's amazing. And they use it for purification mainly everywhere. I think this is coming with the
We used it.
For purification of the soul, of the air, of the everything. And like I said, this too has a lot of applications in medicine, and if you want your guts to be okay, you chew on this. Or your teeth or your hemorrhoids.
Okay. What is that?
Call a friend. I have jars of this. If you ever need it.
Call a midwife.
We're reaching a certain age now. We're not, maybe you're not, but I'm getting old. So, if you ever need stuff for your hemorrhoids, call the girl. So that was, my dears, frankincense. What do you want to go to next?
Let's do myrrh next, because it's frankincense and myrrh. You know how the three, was it the three wise men?
Yeah.
They brought the frankincense and myrrh to Jesus.
Right. So myrrh comes from a tree called comifora, and these are the Latin names of them.
Wait, how did you say that?
Comifora.
Comifora.
With PH. Yes.
Never heard of that.
And it's slightly more red. It's slightly more crystalline. So you would see it, that looks kind of like, see, it has like glassy reflections. Of course the camera loves you. Close your eyes. Sometimes it's darker, it gets even redder with white streaks. If you let it sit, it becomes better, they say. And myrrh, of course, like frankincense, like you already said, is the second thing mentioned in New Testament.
I thought it was Old Testament.
Because Jesus was part of the New Testament. I think that's the point.
I thought Jesus was part of the Old Testament.
I don't think you should say that on camera.
Why not?
It's the new. It becomes the New Testament with Jesus.
Okay, old or new, whatever. They all used it.
Right. They all used it.
I need to know something here.
Yes.
What's the difference between frankincense and myrrh?
Smell-wise?
Both smell and whatever else.
You burn it the same. It costs about the same. It keeps about the same. It's equally important in perfumery from what I can tell.
Are they?
Smell-wise, they're different. Frankincense, to me, smells cleaner, drier, a little bit lemony, a little bit piney, and still resiny. You can tell it's a
little
resin.
Astringent or something.
Yes, there's some of that. Myrrh, on the other hand, is sweeter. To me, it smells a little bit sweeter, and if it's very high concentrations in a fragrance, it can go towards cola. It has a fizziness, burnt caramel, cola.
So then,
smell and nutty somehow.
How does it compare? How does myrrh compare with benzoin then? When benzoin gets very vanillic.
Benzoin gets very vanillic because it's mostly mixed with vanilla when you smell it. It's very rare that benzoin functions on its own, or it's the main character in a resinous balsamic fragrance. Usually benzoin, and I think out of all of these, labdanum and benzoin are the most fragrances you can possibly imagine, because it's a fixative. So even if you don't smell it, it's still there, because it's a cheaper version of ambergris or vetiver, which are also used as fixatives, but are more expensive to produce. So they use benzoin in a lot of fragrances to make it more stable, to give it depth. So you might not smell it particularly. You might not be able to pinpoint and say, I recognize the smell, this is benzoin, this is what I like, but it's there.
Okay.
And most of the times when you do feel it, it's because it's elevated, and in those cases it's usually mixed with other like vanillic or sweeter things.
Okay.
Because it is the sweetest of all of these.
Okay.
You want to talk about benzoin first? Next.
No. Yeah, okay. Well, are we done with myrrh? Have you said everything about myrrh?
One fun fact. This is the one that I was telling you about. Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Is being used in veterinary medicine for horse tinctures. It's very helpful in healing horses for some reason.
Okay.
Maybe that's why it's been kept around for a long time. And this myrrh thing is I keep bringing up the Egyptians.
Because they are very well known.
They are very well known. They did use it in mummifications and rituals and all of that stuff. But myrrh, alongside labdanum, are the two resins or two fragrant, recognizable things that you can see in frescoes in tombs.
Really?
So yeah,
and hieroglyphics and everything, they have those. So
there's this dude called Sahure. He's a pharaoh, one of the rich important dudes back then, long time ago. He actually did the first expedition onto Africa, so crossed the sea basically, and then back and down into what is today Somalia. So he went into the Arabic Peninsula, then back to Africa basically. He's Egyptian, right? And then did like a zigzag down and kind of collected all he thought was interesting, from like giraffes to like pelts and salts and myrrh and incense and stuff.
Noah's Ark? Noah?
No, he's not. And in one of his tombs, he's depicted with all this garden of miracles that he collected everywhere, with myrrh being like very prominent, the myrrh, the commiphora tree being very prominent. So this is one of the things that they use when they talk about the history of myrrh. It's officially been used and recognized since before New Testament and Old Testament and all that.
So what is your favorite myrrh fragrance?
La Myrrh. That's a classic for me, from Serge Lutens. It's one of those cloche bell jars. I also think there's a good old version of a Myrrh fragrance from Myrrh. Smyrna. Meerkat. From Keiko Mecheri. Mia Merveille, I think it's called.
I smelled that.
In the old, like, rectangular bottle, I think it's fantastic. There's some good Myrrh.
Guerlain has Myrrh Imperial, right?
I have that too.
I'm not sure it's that great.
And in Ensemble Mythique, I'm not mentioning those because for me they're better depicted in these other ones. And then there's Myrrh and Benzoin in a good Eau d'Italie, I think in Baume du Doge or something like that. I think these three are the way I think
Myrrh should be.
Sorry, I'm like translating. Myrrh? Myrrh. It's funny that I say that because I was doing a little bit of research. It comes from Aramaic. That's how old it is. So it's
Aramaic language.
It's yeah. So and that's how they used to say it, Myrrh. And then in Arabic, it's mrr. You know, there are a lot of mrr. There are a lot of mrr. Yeah.
Mrr.
So that's
mrr.
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 Mrr. Myrrh, coming from Aramaic, I don't know how much we recorded because I kept talking and I talk fast. The name of myrrh comes from Aramaic, which is an ancient language. I think the closest to it today is modern Assyrian, but anyway, it's disappearing. And
what are you doing there?
I'm leaking Peru Balsam.
Peru Balsam everywhere.
And then the word for the old Greek word, you know, everything comes from Greek. The old Greek word for perfume, mouron, comes from myrrh, mouron. Myrrh. So myrrh is my best representative.
So that's your favorite resin?
Yeah, I like it. I like it when it's done right.
Okay. So moving on to benzoin.
Is that what we're doing next?
We are doing benzoin next, my favorite resin, next to the frankincense.
Benzoin is friendly. Benzoin, I think, is very beautiful because it doesn't need anything to be liked. Although I have to say it's the ugliest of all, though.
looks really ugly.
Did you see that thing?
That thing was ugly. It looked like a flat
Old
ambergris.
Old poop. I was going to say old bird poop. Yeah.
And I touched that thing?
Yeah, you touched it. You can chew it too.
I don't want to chew it.
So this comes from the Styrax family. So the Styrax that you see on Fragrantica with like pellets of black thing that looks like flint or like
shredded coffee beans.
Same family.
Really?
Yes.
So it goes from black to white?
That one,
white, but gray.
That one is processed differently and it comes from a different tree, but it's the same family, just like Peru and Tolu are.
Okay.
The regular benzoin looks like this. Close your eyes, because it wouldn't take my... Nope. It's basically like a gray thing of dust. The ones that we use are two kinds, either from Siam, which is more used in perfumery than the other one.
What's the other one?
Sumatra, which is an island in the
where coffee comes from.
There you go, in Java, around there, Luwak, now you know all of the Aris Lodore stuff, that's where Sumatra is, and Borneo and orangutans, yes, that's where it's coming from. The Sumatran one is still very much in use, and they produce tons of it, but more for medicinal purposes. And this, again, for animals. So if you're a pet owner, a lot of the naturalistic the things for fleas, for hemorrhoids, for whatever.
Okay, let's not talk about hemorrhoids anymore.
What? I guess it's a hemorrhoid episode.
Okay, I'm gonna title this video, and it's used for hemorrhoids.
And it's used for hemorrhoids and halitosis. Bad end here, bad end there, like the whole indigestion too. So the whole track is taken care of.
Do we know when benzoin was started being used in perfumes?
Nope.
Do you know about Papier d'Armenie?
I know Papier d'Armenie.
It's benzoin, right?
It is benzoin. Do you know that did you know that Cookjian did a celebratory edition and he published his recipe for Papier d'Armenie?
No, I did not know this. Figures he would do it.
Right. Makes sense.
I absolutely love that smell.
Yep. So, and it's easy to make. You just get pulp, pulp of paper.
Wow.
And
do you know how to make it?
Yeah. You want to try?
Let's do it on camera one day.
All right. We're doing Papier d'Armenie. We're Armenian paper. Carta d'Armenia. All right.
So have you used the stuff from Santa Maria Novella?
I have. And
there's a cheaper one that's in France. It's at the drugstores and things. It's like €2.
France and Italy. Yeah, you can find them pretty easily. So the smell of benzoin, do you want to describe it since it's your favorite?
Well, it's very vanillic. It's resins, but there's not a lot of smokiness to it. It's more very vanillic, and I'm a lover of vanilla, and that's what I like about it. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It's just a vanillic resin without the smokiness. But what do you get from it?
Same thing. It's sweet. It's a little bit creamy.
It's sweet, yes.
It's comfortable. It's
cozy. It's very cozy.
Yeah, it's the most comfortable. I think of at least these 5 that we have here. Not that the cod oil or whatever the other ones are friendly, because they're not, or Styrax. But this is a more comfortable.
Yeah, and the Papier d'Armenie is based on the benzoin resin, and of course Guerlain has Bois d'Armenie. It's based on the Papier d'Armenie benzoin resin, but my favorite benzoin fragrance is Diptyque's Benjoin Bohème. Love that smell, absolutely love it. Then there's also the Benjoin 19 from Le Labo. Those are the 3 that I love, but there's a bunch more.
Again, benzoin is in everything.
Whether you feel it or not,
but as a main.
Star?
No, I would say Benjoin Bohème that's my reference point for it as well. Always has been.
Okay.
Here's a dare for perfumers out there. Take benzoin and do something else with it.
Yeah, do something with it. Because I love this note. I love it. And I'm going to eat some someday.
When you have hemorrhoids.
Okay, what's next? So we will talk about Tolu Balsam and Peru Balsam next.
Okay, Tolu Balsam and Peru Balsam. I've already heard.
I've already got stickiness all over me, and you too. I think.
It's very, very dark. This is how it comes off of a tree, just like that. Look at that. It's just like a very, very thick molasses. Look at that. Whoa. It has a very intense smell.
It's like carob to me.
It does smell like carob. It smells like dried tamarind a little bit, let's say. Beeswax, bees, everything, like the bee's knees. It smells like, if you don't know what propolis is, the closest...
What is propolis?
So in nature,
sounds Greek. Is it Greek?
I think it is Greek.
Propolis.
Actually, I don't know the origin of the name, but it's a special waxy substance that is highly medicinal that bees make in order to repair something. For example, there's a big, I don't know, there's a mouse that came and they killed it in the beehive. They covered in this because it's entirely antiseptic, it's sterile, and basically mummifies the mofo. So it's very, very, very pungent, and it's very medicinal, very powerful as a medicine. And so is this, believe it or not. I don't know if they have any overlap. Actually, it would be interesting to look it up. It has about 25 antiseptic, antibacterial, anything in it. About 25, yes, 25 active ingredients, out of which about 40% they can't stabilize enough to know what they are. They have no idea what's in it. Basically, 35 to 40%, they can't explain it. They can't find it. It comes from a tree called Myrrh, I
do know this because I learned about this when I did a review for Tolu from Hormone Jane. Great fragrance, by the way.
Tolu is another Myrrh tree. They are not cousins, but brothers.
Brothers, okay.
This is called Peru Balsam, and it's a misnomer. It's not from Peru. Actually, most of it is produced in El Salvador nowadays, and always, but it's called Peru Balsam because it would be shipped from Central America to Lima, and then from Lima, they would take it and go with it.
So it's ship it en route from Peru.
So it's called Peru Balsam. Tolu comes from a village
from South America again.
in Colombia that was named Tolu, and that's how kind of they got their names, but they're basically the same thing. It's obtained by basically shanking the tree in V shapes, and it woozes, it bleeds. It can't be done too often, as you can imagine. It doesn't change much. I mean, it gets maybe a little bit thicker because water, evaporates sometimes, but it doesn't get much thicker than this. This is how they use it. They steam distill it to take workable ingredients out of it, and it's used again for everything.
Are they the same thing then?
Slightly. I find Tolu sweeter but also smokier. This I find more herby. This is, but they're very similar. Okay. I mean, unless you smell them on their own.
Well, brothers are never identical.
Right, but unless you smell them on their own, like next to each other, I don't think. If you would replace it in a fragrance, don't tell on me. If you were to replace Tolu with Peru, I think they would be interchangeable.
Okay.
But what do I know? I don't know. This has been used out of all modern resins and balsams. This, I think, is the more recent addition to modern perfumery because it only started being used for fragrances officially about 1800s.
A long time ago.
And the first mention that we have of it is from like a German medical record type of, these are the medicines that you can use for like a ledger of some sort in the 17th century.
Isn't it amazing how we get so many great ingredients from the earth to use in perfumery that we are obsessed with as far as smells go?
4,000.
You know
We're
the
only
number?
talking about 4,000.
Not more than 4,000.
It's about 4,000.
Damn. That's a lot.
If you include, aldehydes, stuff that we make in the lab, stuff that gets transformed through processing, like all the alcohols and everything that has some sort of fragrance that's used in perfumery, it's about 4,000 smells and ingredients.
Interesting. Can we do 4,000 different videos?
No. But the essential oils are less than that. They're about 400.
Okay.
The main ones, of course. These are not by any stretch of the imagination exact numbers, but just to put it in perspective, if you don't calculate absolutes, which can be alcoholic, if you don't calculate stuff like orris, which is a freaking powder, or stuff like that, then if you only operate with oils, it's the palette is more limited. That's why I admire Atar perfumers who can create something with such a more limited amount of ingredients compared to everybody else who's using all these other essences and absolutes and powders and other things. But that's a different story. So yeah, that was Peru Balsam.
Okay. So can we move on to Labdanum?
Yeah.
Now, this is a surprise for me that it's listed under the balsams because it's a flower, the rock rose.
Well, the smell
This
doesn't
is-
come from the flower.
This is the Labdanum.
Doesn't come from the. I mean, it comes from
I
the
smell?
flower, but it's not.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That smells freaking amazing.
Let me show the camera how thick this. Look at that. Oh, it's like glue.
You know what
Look
that
at
looks like? The ladies in the old days used to use a sugar paste, peel off their, shave their legs.
Yeah. Ooh, I forgot to tell you something. We were talking about interesting uses for some of these things. Peru Balsam
That smells amazing.
has a high refractive index. In other words, light travels through it very nicely. So it's used in microbiology and in lab settings as a glue, so they don't have to use glass. So they put a dot of Peru Balsam and they stick whatever they want to study on top of it, and then they put it under a microscope. Isn't that interesting? Because it lets the light travel through it just like regular
I'm
optic
obsessed
glass.
with the smell of this.
You can keep it if you want. I ordered 2.
No, it's okay. It's really good. I might
So-
accidentally eat it.
So, seriously, yeah.
It smells so
It's
good.
amazing. Okay, so these...
There's
this is
something-
so good!
It's smoky, it's slightly chocolatey, it's
leathery,
caramelly. Yeah.
it's caramelly.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's herby, too.
Herbal, yeah, lots of herbs. It's so good.
I'm getting goosebumps.
So Labdanum.
So Labdanum. Labdanum is a shrub. It's called cistus. It's called rock rose because the flowers are kind of tiny. They're white.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
Cistus. I see cistus listed in notes. I
I
see.
see costus.
I see.
Oh,
No, I see cistus listed.
Yeah.
I see cyst listed. I
Okay.
see cistus labdanum listed,
Yes.
and then I see labdanum listed.
and laudan,
It's-
you'll
it's
see
all
it.
the same
You'll
thing?
see it. Yes, it's
Okay.
all the same thing. If you see costus, that's a different
no,
story.
I don't want to talk about costus.
Let's not talk about costus.
That'll be a different video.
Yeah, and that was going to be interesting. Okay, so labdanum is a shrub called cistus or rock rose. The smell, this does not come from the flower. It's not like a flower like a rose that has
You
the
can't
smell
smell the
in
rose.
the flower.
There's hardly any smell there.
Right, there's
Yeah.
nothing. So this
But
comes,
this is probably from the shrub.
this is from the shrub. This is from the body of the plant.
Ooh.
Sometimes it spontaneously kind of like sweats these beads of this. And sometimes,
Wow.
And sometimes flowers, the shrub,
I gotta
the
look for
whole
it now.
plant, and sometimes it creates it when it's being attacked. The way they discovered it,
What attacks it?
goats.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Sorry. I love goats. It's my spirit animal.
Really? You know what? I don't like to eat goat meat.
Fine. Nobody's asking you to eat meat. Okay,
Somebody has offered it to me. I'm like, oh, no, thank you.
It's
I don't even like
very,
goat milk.
very low in cholesterol. So if you ever want to change your diet to something that go to
It's
goat
very
meat.
gamey. Ugh.
All
I
right.
don't even like lamb.
There's a huge difference between goat and anyway. So goats would
Goats.
eat this shrub because goats eat anything, and the shrub would try to protect itself and secrete this thing. As they eat, it creates
What the hell?
pearly beads of stuff.
Wow.
The goats would come home.
Let's go get some goats. Take
I
them to
know,
the rock
I
rose.
know.
and-
There you go. They would come home adorned, like with their fur full of stickiness,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And then the goat herder would look at it and go, this is very fragrant goat, you know? Kind of a thing. So then slowly they figured out that this is actually usable, and they created these things that look like
So is it
like
edible?
fancy. Nope. Well, not exactly. They created these fancy combs to get the labdanum
wow.
off of goats, and then they would clean it and sell it as a fragrant thing to others. There are some theoreticians that talk about some, again, back to
Wow.
Egypt, they talk about Osiris.
Amazing.
Osiris is depicted, the god of death and all that, you know, the important mofo. He's depicted, sorry, he's depicted
Mofo.
Depicted in all those tombs with like a goatee, literally, and holding this thing that looks like a flail, but they can't
I
figure
gotta
out what
look
it
it
is.
up now.
So there are a lot of Egyptologists who think Osiris is actually mimicking a goat fake beard, and the flail is nothing but
Wow.
that special comb. It kind of actually looks like the practical combs that they use to comb this out of. Can you imagine trying to get something sticky out of a goat? Oh my
Ew.
god! But
Well,
anyway,
the goat's gonna kick you.
the goats can do way worse than that. But anyway, this is how in the past, this used to be collected. There are two kinds. One is Spanish and one is from Corsica. Mine
Corsica?
is Crete. I'm sorry.
Crete. Okay.
Crete and Greece. This is see, as it gets warmer, it's a little bit easier to peel, to open, but it's really sticky. It does not pour.
So good, guys.
And it's like a glue. It's literally like a glue.
Amazing.
This, just like Myrrh, has the most mentions everywhere. So, Torah, Kabbalah, Old Testament, Egyptian death scrolls, Islam mentions it, Hinduism mentions it. It's every single where.
There is a little smokiness in there. It's very interesting.
And of course, in modern perfumery, you can't have a real sheep unless you have Labdanum.
Well, it's in ambers.
And it can be in any ambers can be built with anything, and it's true that this and benzoin are the most frequent.
You see that freaking flower everywhere.
Right. But sheep, you can't have sheep without Labdanum.
Yeah, it's part of the it's part of that triangle.
Triangle, exactly. So this in modern perfumery has been like very, very, very exploited.
We're blessed with this.
I am very happy to, and it's plentiful. And it's like everywhere, and it's really relatively cheap, and it's easy to process. You can either steam distill it, or you can. There's a solvent extraction that's actually easy, so you can use it as an essential oil, or you can use it as an absolute. The absolute is also easy to get. It's very like a green brown and very intense. The essential oil and the absolute don't smell the same. I tried them both, but this, like, I would put this in something.
Would you
just like this.
Touch it and dab behind your ears and?
There's nothing. Look this. You can get my print out of this. No, this
don't put sticky in the back of your ears.
This is sticky. Look at that. And this, just like the other ones, is used again for a lot of medicinal purposes. For
I can see a lot of weird comments are going to be coming after we show this little thing.
Bring them. Bring the comments. I grew up with goats. Like, bring the comments.
No, I'm thinking of what this looks like to them.
What does it look like? Shit? What does it look like?
You said it, I didn't.
It looks like poop?
I thought of it.
It doesn't look like poop. It's more like melted glass. No, seriously. And it's like, this is the color. So it's like brown, red. I'm covering your face. There you go. Brown, red.
Stop it.
What? I'm going to put it here.
Okay, don't get
Shit nose?
No,
what is it?
Don't get Hitler mustache.
No, that's not what I meant, dude. Anyway, this is very, very
So Labdanum, I love it. It smells great. I think everything that we've smelled today in this video, I think Labdanum rocks.
I
freaking think it's amazing.
Oof. And I keep getting
it's just, wow, you're going to need a shower after this.
I'm going to,
Do we have any other resins and balsams to discuss with them?
I can show them some. A Papanax is one good one.
So, a Papanax.
A Papanax. A Papanax is also produced mostly in Somalia. And it's sweet myrrh. So unlike myrrh, that can be
it looks like little
tarry,
candied popcorn or something.
A little bit. It's a little bit more porous, a little bit less, popular or important in the world of perfumery. I'm going to show it to you like this, see if we can see anything. There you go. It's red, more red, orange, and it's...
I like the color of this one.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's like almost like jewel color, orange. Unlike myrrh, which can turn sometimes, like I said, a little bit tanninic, right? Because cola has tannins in it. It has like the burntiness in the back, and it's not all from caramel. It's also from the plant itself, theoretically, if you're drinking or chewing coca leaves.
Coca leaves?
Well, Coca-Cola comes from... Theoretically,
well, it used to come from, yeah.
It was a tonic, right? So it had medicinal properties. It used to calm hysterics and ulcers and hemorrhoids.
Oh my god, there we go with the hemorrhoids again.
I'm sorry. It's stuff. Hey, we are
learn all about hemorrhoids today.
Yes. The bottom.
So
let's get to the bottom of this.
It's red myrrh. A Papanax is red myrrh.
Papanax is sweet myrrh. It smells
you said
sweeter.
sweet myrrh, okay.
It smells sweeter,
Can
less...
we smell?
Yeah. But again, we're smelling the rock, basically, because it doesn't really smell like much until you burn it. I also see a rise in... I also see...
You know, all I'm smelling on my hands
Peru.
is the Labdanum.
Oh, Labdanum. Yeah.
That
Elemi is coming up. Copal is coming up, which is a newer resin. Most of it is from the good quality one comes from Mexico and sometimes from Northern Africa. I've seen good copal from like Morocco, Tunisia, and those parts of the world. And I see, you know, companies like Chinu, for example, exploiting a good copal smell, and it's a sweeter, kind of milky, but still fresh frankincense resin, and I think it's a very modern resin that will take off eventually. A Popanax, like I said.
mastic.
Mastic, I think Mastic is going to pick up because I think Mastic is in the same category of things that are slightly anisic. So I see this revival towards heavily anisic stuff like ouzo, like sambuca, like, you know, absinthe and all that stuff.
Love that stuff. Oh my god.
And I think mastic is going to be...
okay.
The problem is you can only have it like from kiosks, and there are a few places that still
the mastic comes from, yeah,
produce mastic, so that's kind of, it's going to
from
be...
Greece.
It's going to be hard. But about, you know, I think these are the new trends. These are the new
resin,
new
balsam
resins.
trends.
And using these, more of these as main ingredients instead of supportive ingredients or
highlight
part
those,
of a cheaper.
Yeah,
exactly.
highlight those notes.
Like Labdanum Nero is a, you know, laudanum thing.
Labdanum, yeah.
Labdanum de Séville, I think L'Occitane started a Voyage in Méditerranée a while back. It's a discontinued collection, but I think it's one of the best work they've done. And Labdanum was, so slowly I think they're starting to depict, I think oud is on the go. You know, no matter how
Oud has been on the go for so long.
But there are a few things that are, you know, came up and in modern Western perfumery, because oud has been around for a long time, right? We like, or intense rose, or musks. What I call modern, I actually mean Western taste perfumery. Oud came up. Some of it is going to stay, but it's not going to be as prevalent as it is today. And I think the resins are still have a future.
Okay.
They haven't finished all that's to be worked.
Okay.
On balsamics.
Cool. What else should we say before we wrap up? Anything else? What should we look forward in the future for resins? And you mentioned the 3 different up and coming popular resins, but should we tell them a few fragrances for them to check out? Or what about from
No, that's your job. I'm not getting in your business.
How about from the sweet Myrrh? What Popanax? I know Diptyque had one called Opone, which was based on
there's an Popanax from Perfume Roma. I can't necessarily recommend it
I like that
wholeheartedly.
one.
It's good,
okay, yeah.
but okay, it's not good enough. We're not okay.
We want
people.
good. We want great.
Actually, there's a great one from a small company called L'Enéide. They have an interesting hand. It's a jewelry company, but so is Bulgari, Cartier. They're all jewelry companies, and some of them have done really good work in the past. They have interesting stuff. They have an Popanax that I think is very, very well made, and it's cheap.
Do you have it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'd like to smell it.
Okay.
All right. What about Labdanum? What should we have them? Laudanum Nero is probably one for them to check out. Which
I would say so. I would say so.
There aren't any fragrances that use the Labdanum in the name.
But they don't have to use Labdanum in the name.
No, I know.
Why do we think that?
Highlight it, you know.
I actually think Alain from Teo Cabanel is a good Labdanum.
Who?
Alain.
From who?
Teo Cabanel.
Oh, Teo. Okay. I like that.
For example. It's a good Labdanum. I mean, there are plenty of good Labdanums out there. Just look it up, look the notes up.
Yeah, look the notes up.
And if it's the first one that comes up, there are plenty of good ones.
So my job is, after this video launches, I will do a top 20 resins video. And I will feature my favorite resin fragrances, featuring the ones we discussed today.
Can I come?
You're going to be traveling.
I'm going to be traveling, sure. Fine.
Where I'm going to come find you in Italy.
We can film it at Pitti.
Well, where am I going to have the fragrances at?
We picked them from Pitti.
Now this one's a great one.
This one is a great one. I think Sahara Noir from Tom Ford. I'm not a big
Sadly
Tom Ford,
discontinued.
but I think Sahara Noir is fantastic.
That was probably one of the better releases.
Resinous out there. I think it's fantastic.
Why
I
did
think Laos from Unum, which is a great frankincense and LME.
That's a good one.
Fantastic one.
Yeah.
There's so many that are good.
LAVS. Yeah. La Liturgie de
Dessert.
yeah, from Javois
Very
is amazing.
good. I mean, there's so many.
There are
that
so
good.
many. Casbah is great. There's one from
I mean, Tolu.
There's so many.
From Ormond Jane.
Tolu,
is a
yeah,
good
there's
one.
so many.
Yeah, all the ambers. I mean, we can bring up all the ambers we want.
Yeah, this is gonna be a top.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Top 20. I think we're gonna focus on more of the resins rather than the balsams.
I mean, Francesca Bianchi has some good resinous. I mean, out of the newer creations.
Yeah, so I'll focus on the resins more than balsams. 'Cause I've done an amber video separately.
I think you need to not separate them.
But they have an amber video they can go watch. I'm not including.
Right. So if you wanna, that's my recommendation, and I would love to watch something like this. If you do a video, take the ambers out, but do focused on both resins and balsams. They're all the same.
Okay, we'll do resins and balsams since you said that.
Hey,
Well, we will.
you don't see Labdanum as a resinous thing, right?
It's more of a balsam.
Or do you see it as resinous or balsamic?
So in Ladino Nero, I see it more as an incense, even though it's called Ladino Nero. There's probably incense in the fragrance.
But incense, what do you call incense? Because incense can be made of everything.
Frankincense.
Well, they burn hinoki and benzoin in Taoist temples. That's incense.
It depends on the kind of incense it is.
Do you know what frankincense means?
We just discussed it.
No, but do you know what the name means?
No, I don't know what the name is.
Frankincense. It's a French word, Old French, and it basically means noble incense. Because you can have all sorts of incenses, but the franc one, the noble one, the best one, is this Boswellia thing, and that's how it got the name frankincense.
Interesting. Well,
Boom.
there we go.
Boom.
Lesson of the day. Noble incense.
Did you know? Sorry. Did you know?
Anyway, guys, if you have any questions or comments for us, please do list below. I know this video was a long one, but these videos will be long. We'll do more topics. And speaking of more topics, aren't we going to do another one?
I don't know. Because you didn't invite me officially.
Well, I'm inviting you now officially.
I'm not going to talk about hemorrhoids next time.
No, please don't. That'll be a different video on a different channel.
We can talk about...
Okay, so here are some ideas. Animalics.
Ooh.
Aldehydes.
Earwax, I just said earwax.
We're not going to talk about earwax either. So animalics.
Yes.
Aldehydes.
Okay.
Throw out 2 topics.
Oh, really?
And then we'll let them choose.
Fruity, because none of us are doing fruity.
I've done a fruity video. I wouldn't mind talking about fruity.
But no, but to the nerdy videos about fruits and perfumery.
Fruity.
Should we? No.
Yeah, fruity.
I don't want to waste my vetiver. No, I don't want to waste my options on something I'm not comfortable with.
We're going to do more of these.
Vetiver and perfumery, and
they've heard me talk a lot about vetiver, but we'll
me.
Well,
did you do the nerdy part?
No, we didn't do the nerdy part, but we'll do the nerdy part. So we have
vetiver,
aldehydes, we have animalics, we have vetiver, and
sheep.
Okay. All right. So 4 topics. Pick the one that you want us to do next, and we'll see how many votes each one gets.
Do you want to pick one animalic? Because animalics are like so different from one another. Like an ambergris is completely different from a civet or a musk.
Let's talk about musk.
Like, okay. So musk, aldehydes, vetiver, or sheep.
Well, I was thinking animalics would be more like what we just discussed today. Resins.
I don't have time. I did a 15-minute video talking fast because it was in Romanian just on musk.
Okay.
Seriously.
So we'll do musk. So it's musk, it's aldehydes, it's vetiver, or it's chypre. Pick the one you want us to do, and we will see how many votes each one gets, and we'll pick the one that has the most votes for the next topic. This next one will probably be in October or November, since both of us will be traveling, and we'll be back afterwards and set up a time to do. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching this very long video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And me. And follow her too. Yeah, don't forget to follow her.
I'm only on Insta, so.
Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow us. No, I already said that.
Yeah.
Follow us on, I don't know. Please like this video, please share it. I'll be back with more videos very soon.